there was news made of him getting a speeding ticket for going 101 miles an hour. What I've heard in terms of him being in the building has been all positive. They really like Shedeur. He works hard. He's got a good personality. All that stuff has been good. Again, I'm not blaming this incident on anything else, but it's, the questions were about how is he going to do when he gets outside of the environment of having his dad there with him all the time? How is he going to do when there's different accountability structures here? He said all the right things. He's done the right things in the building.
The Shedeur-Sanders controversy just hit a whole new level. What began as a minor ticketing issue has snowballed into full-blown chaos, with some journalists now accusing Shedeur of wrecking the Browns' locker room from the inside. They're painting him as arrogant, selfish, and out of control off the field. But not so fast. Insider Tom Pelissero is shutting it all down, calling those reports completely false. According to Pelissero, the Cleveland Browns are fully behind Shedeur-Sanders. No drama, no division. In fact, the energy around the facility, all love for Shedeur. Coaches, players, they're all backing him. The Shedeur-Sanders ticketing incident has sparked a massive firestorm. But here's the kicker. It has absolutely nothing to do with his on-field performance or his role with the Cleveland Browns. Yet every journalist seems to be latching on to this minor off-field controversy as if it defines his entire career. It got so out of hand that prominent figures like Colin Cowherd took shots at Shedeur, questioning whether he even deserves to be the starting QB for the Browns. And just to pour salt in the wound, Cowherd even went as far as to pick Kenny Pickett over Shedeur, completely overlooking his exceptional performance.
You ignored signs with Manziel and Baker, and apparently, based on the traffic violation, Shedeur was avoiding some signs too, the ones that say stop. I feel differently today. I'm not as high on him. I'm not sure he's mature enough. Now I'm going to have to like Kenny Pickett.
The Shedeur-Sanders saga isn't just a controversy anymore, it's a targeted takedown. What started as a minor ticketing issue has now become the excuse for a full-blown media assault. Journalists across the board have been piling on, trying to paint Shedeur as a problem child, ignoring the reality of his on-field excellence and off-field focus with the Cleveland Browns. But no one went harder than Colin Cowherd. Cowherd didn't stop at questioning Shedeur's future. He flat-out dismissed it. He claimed Shedeur wouldn't even be the starting QB in Cleveland, going as far as picking Kenny Pickett over him. As if that wasn't enough, Cowherd crossed a whole new line, mocking Shedeur's fans. He called them out directly, telling them to go defend their guy like they do Baker Mayfield and Deshaun Watson on Reddit. That wasn't just criticism. That was personal. That was Colin attacking everything Shedeur has built, his image, his momentum, and the people who've stood by him through every high and low. More voices have now joined the chorus, calling for Shedeur-Sanders to be relieved from the Cleveland Browns entirely. Not because of his play, not because he's underperforming, but because of an off-the-field incident that, according to them, shows his true attitude.
If I'm the Browns, and I'm seeing this going on, I'm going to have to pull the plug on the Shedeur-Sanders. He should be cut immediately. Okay. I'm not serious, but I'm serious. And I want to say this.
Okay.
Backup quarterbacks, fifth-round picks should be seen, not cited. It's the worst thing you can do. That's not that. Do you know what I mean?
No argument there.
As if that wasn't enough, some journalists have taken it a step further, claiming that people inside the Cleveland Browns organization might be thinking about parting ways with Shedeur. They argue that his off-field actions are too much of a distraction, that it's not the kind of behavior the team wants from its starting quarterback. According to these reports, Shedeur's attitude problem is seen as a threat to the culture in Cleveland, and some insiders are even suggesting that the Browns should consider moving on from him entirely before things spiral out of control. But here's the thing, these critics are completely overlooking the bigger picture. Yes, Shedeur is a young guy with a huge spotlight on him, and like many athletes, he's going to make mistakes. But none of this changes the fact that he's a difference maker on the field. He's proven himself as a leader, and every move he's made, whether on the field or off, has been in line with his commitment to winning. And then, in the middle of all this chaos, Tom Pelissero stepped in, and he did what very few were willing to do. He shut it all down. Pelissero came out swinging, clearing up the rumors about Shedeur Sanders and the Cleveland Browns locker room. He strongly refuted the claims that the locker room had turned against Shedeur, stating that everything inside the building is positive. According to Pelissero, the idea that Shedeur is causing division within the team is nothing more than a targeted false narrative pushed by the media. In fact, Pelissero went even further, saying that every single person in that building is in love with Shedeur. Coaches, teammates, staff, they all have his back. This isn't a guy causing problems in the locker room, it's a guy who is embraced by his team and deeply respected for his work ethic, leadership, and performance.
You know, there was news made of him getting a speeding ticket for going 101 miles an hour. What I've heard in terms of him being in the building has been all positive. They really like Shedeur. He works hard. He's got a good personality. All that stuff has been good.
And as if the media needed more proof, Shedeur Sanders just confirmed that Tom Pelissero was right all along. Despite the endless chatter, Shedeur was spotted at David Njoku's celebrity softball matchup, hanging out with some of the biggest names in the NFL, players like Joe Flacco, Jerry Jeudy, and of course, David Njoku himself. Now, this wasn't just any event. This was a spotlight moment filled with high-profile athletes. And what did we see?
Shedeur Sanders.
You are QB1, bro. You have the QB1. Nobody else is QB1 but you.
Sanders drawing fanfare from those in the stands and those on the field.
He gonna be the greatest. Remember I said it. I'm telling you.
For a few innings, it wasn't about speeding tickets or court dates. It was just fun fans.
And let's not forget the most important part of this entire situation. The fans never left his side. While critics were busy dissecting the speeding ticket, turning it into some exaggerated scandal, Shedeur Sanders' true supporters stood tall. They didn't flinch. They didn't waver. If anything, they doubled down on their love for the young quarterback. People gathered around him, snapping photos, exchanging laughs, and cheering him on. There was no tension, no awkwardness, no judgment, just genuine support. It wasn't about the ticket, it was about the person. And Shedeur, once again, showed up as someone who connects, inspires, and keeps it real. This moment said everything the media wouldn't. Shedeur Sanders is still that guy, respected, admired, and absolutely backed by his fan base. Mistakes happen, but the way he carries himself through them, that's what sets him apart. And in case anyone missed the point, Shedeur Sanders himself stepped up and addressed the situation with a level of maturity that surprised many. In a video he posted a few days ago, Shedeur didn't shy away from the incident. He didn't hide behind excuses or try to deflect blame. Instead, he owned it. He admitted it, plain and simple. Yes, he was ticketed. Yes, it was a mistake. And yes, he takes full responsibility. What stood out the most in his message? His honesty. Shedeur didn't try to paint himself as perfect. He openly acknowledged that he's a young man who sometimes makes bad decisions. But what was even more powerful was his self-awareness. He wasn't pretending to be flawless. He didn't sugarcoat it. Instead, he used the moment to reflect, admit his fault, and emphasize his willingness to learn from it.
He's talking about overall in life. You know, I made some wrong choices personally, and I got owned up to him. I made some, not great choices.
He's saying that because he's an accountable person.
I learned
from the real people.
I learned.
It's not. He don't be doing that.
I learned.
In the midst of a media frenzy surrounding Shedeur Sanders, Tom Pelissero emerged as a key voice of reason, completely shutting down the narrative that was trying to tarnish Shedeur's reputation. As critics relentlessly attacked Shedeur over a minor off-the-field incident, claiming it reflected negatively on his character and relationship with teammates, Pelissero went straight to the heart of the matter, clarifying that the claims of locker room division were utterly false. He confirmed that within the Cleveland Browns organization, Shedeur is not only accepted but embraced. His teammates and coaches love him and respect his work ethic and leadership. What makes Pelissero's statement even more credible is what happened next. Just days after the incident, Shedeur was seen at David Njoku's celebrity softball game, surrounded by NFL veterans like Joe Flacco, Jerry Jeudy, and Njoku himself. There was no tension, no distancing, only laughter, camaraderie, and full acceptance. The presence of these respected pros joking around and bonding with Shedeur proved beyond a doubt that the locker room was not only intact, but thriving with him in it.